Alright, what's up, Zach?
What's happening?
Well, hey, let me tell you about this Nest thermostat service call I was on.
Can't wait.
Alright, well, so here's what happened. So, this guy calls me the other day and says, hey, my thermostat is blank. And before it went blank, when the heat was on, it just blew out cold air. And it's a heat pump.
Right.
So I go out there and I check it out, and sure enough, the thermostat was blank. Well, now, the guy's got 3 of these Nests in his house.
Oh dear.
And then so he goes and he pulls the thermostat off his bedroom wall, and I take it over to the living room, and I take the old Nest, the blank one, off the wall, and I put the one from the bedroom on the wall.
Right.
And it comes on, and as soon as it comes on, it shows the error display, and it goes blank. So,
That's a smart thermostat, right, Ralph?
do what?
That's a smart thermostat, right?
Yeah, it's really smart. So I go ahead and I pull the thermostat off the wall, and I'm checking power because I thought, well, maybe the fuse blew up in the air handler. You know, something happened to reversing valve or something.
Right.
So I checked power from R to C, and I had 28 volts. I said, well, that just doesn't make any sense. Huh?
But there should be a display if there's 28 volts.
Exactly. So I was like, well, okay, so they use RH, so let me switch the wire over to RC. Because, you know, you can use either one.
Right.
So I put the thermostat back on the wall, and guess what?
What?
It comes on and works.
Wow.
Yeah. So I turn it on heat, and cold air is blowing out the vent.
Well, at least you got a display, right?
Yeah, I got a display, and I got the air to at least come on, but, you know, the reversing valve's not switching.
Hey, Ralph, they can watch the temperature plummet in their house now.
Well, that's what he was complaining about to begin with. So I was like, well, okay, so I condemned the thermostat. Or the subbase, not the thermostat. And so I was like, well, let me call tech support. And the guy was like, nah, just go ahead and put a regular thermostat on the wall. He said, I'm not really interested in that. And I said, well, this thermostat's going to be free, you know, because it's being under warranty.
Right.
So he agreed. He was like, okay, let's do it. So I called tech support. And you know what they made me do, right?
What's that?
They made me go through every single step. They wanted me to take this wire off and put this wire over here and this wire over here. And,
Hey, here's a question for you before you say the next thing.
okay.
How long did you have to wait to talk to somebody from tech support?
It was like, probably 5 or 10 minutes. It wasn't that long, but
Not bad.
yeah.
Not bad at all.
No, because I had the homeowner there to entertain me while I was on hold.
Okay.
So anyway, so she says she condemns the subbase. And
Right.
but here's the kicker. You're gonna like this part.
I bet.
She said, "Do you have a thermostat on your truck?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I have a thermostat on my truck?" Well, do you have another heat pump thermostat on your truck to get the guy temporary heat? And I was like, I had already planned on putting a temporary stat on the truck, on the wall. And I was like, well, yeah, I got one. Why? She's like, well, I cannot process your claim until I know that my customer has heat. I was like, what?
Wow.
And I wanted to say, well, so you're trying to tell me how to spend my money, right?
Well, that's really nice. Almost like you're working for the government.
Exactly. Only I'm working for Nest without working for Nest. You know, so I get to give her customer, not my customer, her customer, a temporary stat out of the kindness of my heart. Which I was going to...
She's paying for it, right? She's going to pay for the stat, right?
Yeah, she's going to pay for it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would never leave anybody without heat, you know, intentionally.
No, I got you. You just don't want people telling you what to do. You can make your own right decision, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, so I put the new stat on the wall, and everything comes on and works. She processes a claim. And he called me yesterday and said, hey, or no, he called me Thursday, but he was going to be out of town. So I went out to his house yesterday, which was Monday, and put the new stat on the wall. Wired up like it was supposed to, and everything came on and worked, just like it was supposed to.
Home free, right?
Home free. Until I said, well, let me go check the coolant. Switched it to coolant. Everything worked right. Then I said, well, let me check emergency heat. So I go to that place where you got heat, cool, and off. Well, I didn't see an emergency heat. So, yeah. So you ever seen a thermostat that wouldn't go in emergency heat?
Well, most of them do have emergency heat. The ones that, especially a thermostat that, like you're saying, cost like $300.
Right. So I go to the instruction manual that comes in the box to see if I can see a wiring diagram or, how to get it over to emergency heat, because it is a $250 thermostat.
I know you have a very nice wiring diagram.
No, the instruction manual does not have a wiring diagram.
Holy crap.
So I'm like, okay, so let me call tech support. I explained the situation, and you know what the guy told me?
What's that?
He said, you cannot have auxiliary heat and emergency heat. You only get to pick one of the two. You can't have both.
That's insane.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. So I asked him this question. I said, so what you're telling me is if the guy's heat broke at Friday at 2 o'clock in the morning, he would have to come to the thermostat, take the white wire off the aux terminal and put it down on the star terminal to get emergency heat. He said,
Well, that's ridiculous. The guy's just going to have to wander outside in his parka and shut the breaker off for the condenser or the heat pump and then go back inside and put it on and wait for the auxiliary heat to click on.
Right, and that's 3 degrees. So his indoor fan will never shut off.
Right, it'll be on forever.
Right. So the guy said, yeah, you can't have one, or you can't have both. You have to pick one or two. So I was like, well, that's just unacceptable. So, and I was yelling at the guy, I was like, hey, that's not right. You're wrong, blah, blah, blah. And so finally I was like, I'm done with this conversation. He's like, well, okay, have I helped you with everything? And I said, no, and I clicked and I hung up. So then I'm like, the whole way home, I'm thinking about this stupid phone conversation I just got through having with tech support from the Nest. And it was pissing me off. So then when I get home, I'm like, no, I'm calling them back. Because that's not acceptable. You can't have a thermostat that won't do emergency heat.
Hey, maybe an engineer will pick up the phone.
I keep wanting to talk to an engineer because I got some design issues with those guys after talking to this next guy.
Right.
So I call their tech support back. And the guy on the phone tells me, oh no, you can have emergency heat and auxiliary heat. All you have to do is hook your emergency heat wire up to your star terminal. I said, well, how come the other guy said I couldn't? He's like, I don't know, but you can. I said, well, I don't have an emergency heat wire. I just have the white wire that goes to the heat strips to the same place. Well, that won't work. And I said, well, why not? He said, because you got to have a wire coming out of the star terminal. I said, well, can I just put a jumper in there? He said, absolutely not. I was like, well, why not? Because wouldn't you think you just put a jumper from the star terminal to aux?
Yeah, I'd be very curious why you couldn't do that.
You know what he told me?
Huh?
He said, if you put a jumper in there, you're going to short it out. I said, what? What do you mean? How am I going to short out the sub base by putting a jumper in between star and auxiliary heat? He said, you just can't because it's sending power constantly to both of them. And I said, do you know what emergency heat is? He said, yeah, it's your backup heat. I said, do you know what auxiliary heat is? He said, yeah, it's like, it helps the unit heat the house faster. I said, do you not realize they're both exactly the same thing? I don't get this. I don't know what happens past the wall. I just know what happens at the wall.
I would tell him that past the wall, everyone wiring up everything together.
That's what hey, look, I got a prop. I got a set of heat strips right here next to me.
Right.
That has a sequencer that has one white wire on it.
Right.
And no other wire. So, let me tell you, at the end of our conversation, I can guarantee you that guy is a lot smarter than he was before we started talking.
Did you get him to say that the jumper is okay?
No.
You couldn't do it?
No, he would never say the jumper was okay.
He's legally bound to refuse the jumper.
Yeah. So okay. So the Nest is the number one thermostat out there, right?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is that an actual thing?
As far as smart thermostats go.
Wow.
But did you know that the Ecobee thermostat doesn't have a star terminal that you have to hook up emergency to? Because
right.
it once you set it up for heat pump, it already knows that when you switch it to emergency, to send a signal to that W terminal, to the aux terminal.
Ecobee's good stuff.
Well, yeah. But here's on a Nest, it has a star terminal, and what that star terminal is a accessory terminal for like humidifiers, dehumidifiers, ventilation stuff, and and electric heat. So you can set it up for like 4 different things. Whatever accessory you have, you can set that star terminal to be. So if a guy has a heat pump and a dehumidifier, he can't use the Nest thermostat to control his dehumidifier because his star terminal is going to be used up already as the electric heat terminal.
Wow.
So, and they advertise this thermostat to be, it'll control all these other different accessories.
Just not all of them at the same time.
But not all of them at the same time.
You pick your favorite accessory.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you think that an engineer who gets paid $111,000 to work for Nest, don't you think he can go on his little keyboard and do some sort of update to make auxiliary and emergency the same terminal on that thermostat?
I would think they could do that, yeah. Who else used to do that very well?
Yeah. When I was on the phone with tech support with that second guy, I said, what do you mean you can't do that? Well, no, we just can't do it. And I said, well, Honeywell can.
Oh, man. Now they're going to hate your guy.
He started laughing. And I was like, he said, yeah, but we're not Honeywell. I said, yeah.
I have a Lyric thermostat in my hand right now functioning perfectly.
You have what?
I have a Lyric thermostat in my hand right now. It's perfect.
Yeah, and I bet it has an emergency heat terminal on it. Or auxiliary.
I would think so. I don't actually have it in my hand, but I'm sure it does.
I bet you can jump it out, too.
I bet I would.
Yeah, well.
Did you jump out the Nest?
No, I did not. Because actually, honestly, when that first guy told me that I couldn't have both, I was so irritated that I just left. So now I'm going to have to go back and get the guy emergency heat.
That's wild. Maybe he'll change that thing out for a thermostat not marketed to the homeowners.
Yeah, it's a shame because, like the first woman, she was like, oh yeah, go get a thermostat off the truck so I can process this claim. And I'm like, wait a second. I don't have a dog in this hunt other than him being my customer. And I didn't want to tell her, well, I'm going to put a thermostat on the wall anyway. But I didn't make any money on this thermostat to begin with. So I felt like, well, I shouldn't have to do warranty for their stuff.
Yeah, no good deed, Ralph.
Well, I know, but and I hate to sound like that because, like I said, I would never leave somebody without heat.
No, you're right. Me neither. But people, it's just kind of nuts. The whole.
But I don't want to leave a customer.
Experience.
I don't want a company telling me, a manufacturer telling me that, hey, you've got to do this.
Yeah, unless they're sending you some money.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't see Nest sending me any money.
Yeah.
Although, forgetting the idea about them making the aux and the emergency terminal the same terminal.
Yeah.
They should send me something.
I mean, that seems pretty easy to do. You're sending power down to one wire instead of multiple wires.
Yeah, what they've done with this thermostat is they've tried to make it so simple, they overcomplicated it.
Yeah, that's just nuts. I mean, how much harder is it to... Everyone out there has heat pumps with backup heat.
I know.
Emergency heat.
Hey, if they can figure out how to make that stupid thermostat do dual fuel, they should be able to figure out how to make it do emergency heat with that aux terminal.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I would never suggest anybody get the Nest. If they want a smart thermostat like that, I just tell them, get the EcoBee3.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Ecobee is good stuff.
But unfortunately, when you got people like Consumer Reports doing reviewing this thing and giving it a really high mark, but then they won't even test the EcoBee3. That's kind of unfair.
Yeah, it's a crock, and I'll leave out the cuss word. It's just a crock.
No, I agree. So anyway.
It's a learning set, Ralph. It's one of those things that everybody knows is a bunch of bull crap.
I know, but you know what? Some people will watch this video and say, you're just afraid of technology. Well, no, it's not technology I'm afraid of. It's that I want the stupid thing to do what I need it to do when I want it to do it.
That's right. And hell, the Ecobee does more stuff than the Nest does. The Ecobee gives you a report, lets you know how well you use it.
Well, yeah.
It's an awesome thermostat.
The Nest will give you that report too, but not as not as good as what the EcoBee3 does.
The Ecobee's good. I mean, I'm not familiar with the Nest report, but anyone that can't put auxiliary and emergency heat on the same stat, I mean, why do you gotta use it?
Yeah. Like I said, they're using up a terminal that could be used for something else.
I would be interested to know if they have the different versions of the stat that have different features.
Well, I don't know. Now that was a Gen 2 thermostat that I was working with. As far as I know.
What are they on now?
Do what?
What are they on now?
They're on Gen 3, but I still don't think the Gen 3 will do emergency heat on the aux terminal.
That's a shame.
And it should. And like I said, the sad part is all it would require, because it's not a hardware issue, it's a software issue. And these thermostats update all the time.
Right.
So like I said, they should be able to, in their update, just go on their little keyboard and say, we now want emergency to be aux.
Yeah, that would be, they should be able to do something like that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. But anyway,
That is the devil.
Yeah, the Nest thermostat is the devil. When I made that video, Zach, I was just joking around.
Hey, foreshadowing is what it's called.
Yeah, foreshadowing. Yeah, I was just joking around. It was just a parody video because I know how people love the Nest, and I was just having fun. But this one, I'm not really. It's not a fun. It's not fun.
No, you're right. And it's a shame because since you didn't pick it up, you can't take it back to your distributor and handle it in a local fashion. You'd have somebody on the phone handle it, and it's just I think doing stuff like that.
But
it's local.
But the worst part about it, Zach?
What's that?
Is when you call tech support, you expect those people to eat, live, sleep, drink this product, right? And when you ask them a question, you expect them to know everything about this thing without having to read some flowchart on the computer.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't blame tech support. I cannot blame the people that answer the phone. Because all they did was they went in, they applied for the job, and Nest gave them a job that they weren't qualified to do.
Yeah. Well, tech support's not created equal. Some are really good and some are really horrible.
No, I agree with that. You know, like I said, because when I talked to that guy yesterday, the last guy, he had no idea how this stuff worked. I said, you know, you can stop making them do a lot of these tests, because when they want you to test the reversing valve, they do it by making you move wires around. So I said, you don't have to do that test. All you got to do is ask them what kind of equipment they have. If they say, I got a ring or rood, then you should know that it needs to be on the B terminal.
Yeah.
Automatically. Without making, you know, and that would save you so many steps. He's like, well, I've been thinking about going to air conditioning school to learn the basics.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, me too.
Hey, you know what I did? I did tell him, I said, you know, I have a YouTube channel with like 400 something videos on it. And I even have a video called The Nest Thermostat is the Devil.
That's funny.
And he laughed. And
he laughed and you don't care nothing about the Nest.
Yeah, wait till he sees it. I told him, I said, you know, I said, there's something I said in that video, and it's like, why would you want a learning thermostat when you could have one that's already been taught? And he really liked that one.
That's a good marketing slogan right there.
I know.
I can see that on TV during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Advertising.
Throwing their nets in the trash.
Yeah, you know, somebody said, well, the EcoBee3 is the learning thermostat. I was like, yeah, whatever. But it's already been taught a lot of stuff. Huh?
Yeah. So you can't use the same terms or get in the same category as the net.
No.
Everything how you describe it.
No. But anyway. All right, Zach, I'm going to get off the phone, man.
Sweet. Well, I can't wait to see this video later. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, tell everybody bye, Zach.
Goodbye, everybody.
So anyway, Zach said subscribe to his channel, Talon875. Not his pro channel, but his regular channel.
Any of you qualified technicians, feel free to come on over.
Yeah, hold on a second. Later, y'all.